Other Side of the Moon, Drag Race Edition, with me, Luna Muse. Wow, hello everybody, we are doing something new today. So for those of you who are listening to this podcast, hello, I'm Cam Pederson, otherwise known as Luna Muse. But I'm also filming a video, and so if you're watching this on the old-fashioned YouTube, hello, I'm Cam Pederson, otherwise known as Luna Muse, we've already established this. But I'm a huge fan of Drag Race, okay? I claim to be a drag queen, and so I thought, I'm funny, I have a point of view, sort of. Why don't I have my opinions about this show that I love be broadcast on two platforms? So I don't know if I'm going to do this for every single episode, but I am using the podcast, Other Side of the Moon, with Cam Pederson, and I am hopefully going to have a kind of spin-off series about RuPaul's Drag Race Season 12, because gals and everyone else, we're starting another season, and that's very exciting to me. So I thought I would introduce this via video, because I did a little, what I'm going to call promo. All of these girls, they're in red, white, and blue. That's a choice. And I thought I'd put together the best red, white, and blue I already had. So this is what you get. And if you are viewing this or listening to this on a podcast, you can see the cover art has changed. It's no longer me and boy. It's me as a drag queen. Emphasis on the queen. I'm really feeling like a regal red, white, and blue, if you will. So, I want to establish that this is a spin-off series on my podcast, my personal podcast, in which I react, reflect, and review Season 12 of RuPaul's Drag Race. The fun is that I am not a drag queen who has ever been through this process. I've heard it's quite the process, so I'm coming from a viewer, a fan. Being a fan of Drag Race does not make you a pro at Drag Race, okay? Let's establish that right now before I get red. I am a fan. I like the show. This season particularly excites me. It is mainstream, and so I really just want to have a chit-chat, spill the tea, as they say, about the show, and I'm in no way thinking I'm better than any of these queens that are clearly beyond any skill level that I currently possess. So let's just get that out of the way. But yeah, this is for entertainment purposes only. RuPaul I don't own any part of RuPaul or RuPaul's Drag Race or VH1 or all that other stuff. World of Wonder presents, WoW presents, whatever. So this is purely just for enjoyment purposes, and I thank you for watching this inaugural video. I am going to rehearsals, so I probably won't be putting videos up each week. I just thought this was fun, and I was already in drag, so why the hell not, right? And if you are listening to this, thanks for listening. This should be super fun. With that being said, we have had the cast reveal, and I'm going to talk about these queens and their looks a little bit, because if you're listening to this, that doesn't really help you out much. You can't see what they look like, so if you haven't already, I would recommend maybe just scrolling through to see what these gals look like, and maybe even watch their announcement where they're like walking in the garage. So the announcement, let's talk about that. It was like the day before, right? They put out this cryptic like tomorrow noon, stay tuned. And it was a very like quick turnaround. They barely even like teased us. And then they had Yvie Oddly in there, which I think the announcement fit Yvie Oddly pretty well. I was a little taken aback because it was particularly like Dragula. It felt like they really took a page out of that book and went with it, which I liked. It was a little spooky because I guess when you watch Drag Race, you expect a certain thing. So I was surprised. Nonetheless, good for them, I guess. I don't maybe know how the people of Dragula feel, but I guess Drag Race came before Dragula, so however you want that to be. I think it was fun that it was different and edgy, and probably challenged maybe a little bit some of the queens to step outside that box that RuPaul's Drag Race is known for. So I thought it was particularly cute. I liked the edgy looks. I thought it was funny that when a drag queen thinks edgy, they think plaid. There was a lot of plaid going on. I don't know what their prompt was. We know that RuPaul's Drag Race gals, they're given like a list of like, bring an orange look, bring this look, bring a that look. And, that's why we saw a lot of cave looks on season 10 when really they use them for like their arch nemesis or whatever. We know that they're given looks. Now, I'm pretty sure the announcement and their promo shots, that was well after they filmed the season. They filmed this summer. And I'm pretty sure this is probably later when they had more money and they could pay some good designers to make some things for them. So, The announcement video was cute, very strangely staged in a garage. Evie Oddly was there, probably not, but on a screen. Yeah, so let's get into the individual queens, because I think this season presents a scope, I would say. Now, we know there are no transgender queens on here. We're all sad about this. We're all mad about this. From my beginnings in drag, it was there. I mean, there were trans performers there. Now I came into drag so late. I'm young, as the people call it. There are people that have been doing drag since before I was born, and from my understanding is that the drag and trans performers, there's such a long history of that, and something that I think RuPaul probably knows about. And it's, I don't know, it's a give and take. It's a double-edged sword. This is a wonderful show, a wonderful platform. I do think it's a shame, though, because I know there are some fierce queens that don't identify as cisgender men. So I get, it's out of a lot of our hands, and the best we can do is call the people out on it. And so I think that's a shame, but let's put that aside for what it is. Let's celebrate the people that are on this show, and also celebrate the trans performers in your local hometowns, because there are probably a lot of them, and they're probably fierce. And yeah, okay, so let's get into it. I'm gonna go in alphabetical, because that's what they're doing, because they don't want to give away any elimination order, blah blah blah. Now, I do know some spoilers. I'm not gonna talk about those, because I feel like oftentimes when I watch spoilers, the people look dumb when they're not right. I remember all the drama about Blair St. Clair was season 10, and it was like, she gets taken out with a cop car, blah, 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 and that's like not, that's not what happened. We know that's not what happened, so I'm gonna take those with a grain of salt. Oh my god, this medallion, I'm sorry if you're listening to this. We're gonna put that aside. Will that help? I don't know. Okay, getting into it, our first queen to walk the runway in the reveal and into season 12 is Aiden Zane from Georgia, or as she calls the middle of nowhere, Georgia. I think she says in her promo look. I think her look is very interesting, very Dracula. I hate to keep making that comparison. By the way, I'm gonna try my best to not draw comparisons to past RuPaul's Drag Race queens or girls. I think it's boring. Obviously, like, with her, there's an impulse to draw a comparison to a certain person, but I think just to celebrate them as they are. I don't, if I was walking in on season 25 to Drag Race, I don't want someone to constantly be comparing me to blah 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 blah. I'm not gonna do that. And I'm thinking it, just so you know, but I'm not gonna say it on here because we don't need to put that out there. But Aiden Zane from Georgia, I think, is very interesting. Does have a Dragula essence, have a horror essence. Looking in her interview and the look that she walked the runway with, I thought she's a little spooky, and I liked spooky, but there's something off about her, and even in her interview, I can tell she has an attitude, which I don't know how well that sits with me. I think drag is fun and fierce, but I also love it when people are nice. Isn't that great? I love when people are nice in drag. But I'm interested to see her on the show. She gives me a slightly villainess. I feel like she's going to stir the pot with something. So can't wait to see what she brings. Next, we've got Britta, otherwise known as Britta Filter. We all know that her name is Britta Filter. Unfortunately, when you go into Hollywood, you worry about trademarks and whatnot. So Britta is now just Britta. I love Britta. I love Britta Filter so much. I remember it was when the rumors that Ms. Cracker and Aquaria were going to be on Drag Race, I spam followed a bunch of these New York girls because the New York girls are fierce. Now, do I think that half the cast needs to be from New York? No. I would love to see some Midwest queens on there. We actually have a couple. But anyways, that aside, Britta's fierce, and she is so personable in her videos. I was surprised. You keep getting these New York queens, and you expect maybe it's going to be the same thing. No, Britta is a wonderful, wonderful entity in herself. She was actually just in Minneapolis, and some of the queens that worked with her said she's delightful. She's so nice, and I think she's gonna have a bigger post show maybe than what we even see on the show. But I think Britta is wonderful, and I'm excited to see what they bring. This next queen. So I know of Gigi Good. I know of her, and so that was like when they announced the cast, I was like, yes, this is Gigi. But I think my like favorite has switched since all of this promo and press, and I've followed all the gals. Crystal Method from Springfield, Missouri, is okay. I'm gonna be honest. Part of today's look is slightly inspired by what she brought to her promo look. I think she is so kooky, and so she appears to be very nice. She appears to be someone who likes to be nice. And her look, she talked about in her interview about how she paints her lips to look like she is smiling all the time, even though she might not be having a great day. I think she's delightful, and I hope she goes really far in the competition. If not, I'm a fan. I think I really like, and the name is so evocative. But yeah, go Crystal Method. Don't do meth. Next up, we have Dahlia Sin from the House of Aja. I'm pretty sure. She's gorgeous. She is very realistic woman. Now, okay, in drag, in this time and place that we're all in right now, you look at someone like Vanjie or Naomi Smalls. They're wonderful, fierce performers. They're awesome. We've seen them on the show multiple times now. Part of me is like not in love with this idea of the drag queens going so hyper realistic. You know, the human hair, the eye makeup, the plastic surgery to make yourself look so realistically woman. I think it's kind of boring, to be honest. This is coming from someone who's wearing a cheap hard front wig, not wearing nails currently. So it's a give and take. I think she's beautiful. I hope she's good. But part of it is, you know, she looks great. And she looks very realistic. Also, going on to the next one, Gigi Goode. Now, Gigi Goode also has that kind of very realistic woman, but like slightly not sort of a way. I think she, to me, is so evocative because she is so young. She has wonderful polished looks that her mom makes. They're a duo. I mean, I think, from my understanding, she draws like what she wants this to look like. She mails it to her mom, and sometimes with the supplies, I think, and then her mom like will whip it together. So I'm assuming we're gonna see a lot of looks made by her mom on the RuPaul's Drag Race runway, and I think that is awesome. You know, we often see people with these high-end designers walking the runway, and to have a mom-son duo, as a mama's boy myself, I think that's so fun. So I'm excited to see what Gigi Goode brings. People love her. People are going to love her. She's already doing so well. So, yeah, Gigi Goode, one of my faves. So far, my faves, well, are a lot of them. The big ones are Britta, Crystal Method, and Gigi. Next, we've got Heidi in Closet from North Carolina, I think that is. This name, y'all. I don't remember a whole lot from her interview. She looks very fun and jovial. The name is, with a name like that, you can't be boring. And if you are boring, I hope you're not. She seems fun. That's all I got for Heidi in Closet. I hope the name, I hope she's better than the name. Moving on. We have Jackie Cox, another New York girl. I think her look, so when she first walked, she was, I think it's Iran. Oh my god. Some kind of Middle East influence fashion. At first I thought it was beautiful. She's rather pale, so I was a little worried about that. But then when you find out that she actually has that inheritance, you're like, okay. But she presented something very fashionable, but not like American fashion, what we know it as. And I thought it was very interesting. And then on the flip side, her promo look is very, at first we all thought it was like 60s, 50s housewife, but then we find out that it is the fashion of her country before what we know it as today. So I think that's very, very, very interesting. I think she's I feel like someone that's got something going on. Like there's a secret dark horse entity inside of her that I think right now we're like, she's just a plain looking housewife. That was so season 8. But I think she's gonna surprise us all. Next up on the chopping block, from the Midwest, we finally have a Midwest queen in the mix. Now, I shouldn't say that like there hasn't been, because we had Mercedes last season. Chicago, I guess, is technically the Midwest, but I'm talking true, flat Midwest, like not big city. And, Minneapolis has so many queens that should be on this show that will not be on this show. And I know this. But I feel like they're really, really coast heavy and mostly on New York. So, producers of Drag Race, you're not watching this, but cast from the Midwest because the Midwest has so much good drag that you're ignoring, essentially. But Jada Essence Hall is from, where's she from? Oh my god. Milwaukee, Wisconsin. And I know a lot of people in town in Minneapolis that have worked with her that stan her. She has nothing but a good rep in town, and I can appreciate that. If you have that good of a rep, you're that polished, and you have a personality, woo! I'm rooting for her, mostly because she's like supporting us on the home front, or representing us on the home front, and she is gorgeous, y'all. So her promo look is very pageanty, but then she walked when we first met her in the what is it, the introductional runway, whatever that they did. Oh my god, it was I hope I'm not throwing this term around wrong. A very Black Panther, like very proud Black woman. I loved it. And she, I thought, had a more effective use of the plaid than a lot of the other people did. She had like the red tartan sash. Oh, I loved it. She is going to go far in this competition, I can already tell. Next up, we have Jan. Just Jan. Also from New York City. Now, we also know that Jan is famously known as Jan Sport, like the backpack. It's funny. That's the whole point of the name. Unfortunately, due to copyright issues, Jan cannot be Jan Sport. They have to be Jan. Just Jan, which I think is kind of funny. And I feel like everyone's talking about the Brady Bunch with this, but she's gorgeous, y'all. Now, I also follow Jan in this big New York follow spam that I did way back when that I previously talked about. And she has actually been on The Voice with her little drag queen gal group. I can't remember what they're called, but they're fierce as heck. And there's 3 of them. They perform with Britta, but Britta's not in it. But yeah, Jan can sing. I stan a singing queen, y'all. And so I'm excited to see what Jan brings to the competition, and I hope she gets to do a singing challenge. If she makes it all the way, then she will. But I hope there's a singing challenge that we can see Jan thrive in. Next up, we have Nikki Doll, which this kind of contradicts my point about the very, very realistic-looking drag queens. I'm a fan of the clowns, y'all. But Nikki Doll, gorgeous, originally from Paris, right? Like that's what I thought it was. But it's from New York. No shade to the New York people. Y'all are fierce. Clearly, you're doing something right. But she is gorgeous, and her promo look actually is one of my favorites because it's very high fashion, and I think it's very hard to make red, white, and blue look fashionable. I'm proving that to you right now in this video. If you're listening to this, you should watch the video as well because I look okay. I look kind of like bedroom queen. The makeup is not the best it's ever been, but I was in a pinch. Okay, it's my Sunday off. So yeah, Nikki Doll, gorgeous. I did have some repercussions. Usually when you see some of these look queens on a show like this, they have a tendency to either surprise us all or not have much of a TV personality. They don't act like a TV person, essentially. But I'm intrigued. There's something kind of haunting about her. She looks like she's probably killed her husband before. So, with that being said, let's move on. Rock'em Sakura. Like Rock'em Sock'em, but Rock'em Sakura? I can't even say it. I love this one. I wish there was more of a range of drag queens like this. This is, I know people are drawn a parallel to Trixie Mattel, but I think there's quite a difference. She's got a very anime inspiration, and I feel like by watching her interview, her Meet the Queens interview, she is hilarious. She's from San Fran, California, and I think I'm very excited to see what she brings because when you look like that, you know something is going on inside the brain that makes you not look like the rest of them, and so I'm intrigued to see what she brings to the competition. She looks fierce, and I really like. I know there's probably a reference I'm not getting, but to me she looks like a rocket in this promo look. She literally looks like she's about to blast off to Boom Boom Mars. So very cool. Next up, we have Sherry Pie, also from New York City. I know that Sherry Pie has been trying to get on this freaking show for so long, and I'm very happy to see her on this season. I think, I feel like we've only gotten a taste of what she's like. I've heard she's a little crazy by people who've worked with her one-on-one in theater shows, but she's one of those New York queens that has to do an entire show by herself for, a long amount of time and an entire night, or she's one of the ones that goes from this club to this club to this club on the same night. But I know she can sing, I think, and she is crazy, and she can sew, from my understanding. She's like a look queen, a comedy queen, and a performance queen all in one. So I think seeing her on TV, I think, is going to be absolutely delicious, because she is TV. She's a TV personality. And actually, at the I know I'm not really talking about it, but the RuPaul's Drag Race live Las Vegas shindig, she showed up in a Scooby-Doo gown. Scooby-Doo, it looked fierce. It was like the mask thing that they did this last season, but Scooby-Doo, I don't know. She's wonderful. I'm very excited to see what she can bring. And we have our last queen, only because it's alphabetical, Widow Vendu, which I like this name. It's very, very whimsically witchy. I really didn't like both of her looks in her Meet the Queens. Which, the Meet the Queens, if I don't like your look, I'm gonna blame it on red, white, and blue. I don't love red, white, and blue. I love blue. I love red. White's okay. It gets dirty really easily, but I'm gonna blame it on that. But then the entrance look of the video that they had. Now the entrance look of the actual show, the promotional, their first runway that we see them in. I didn't love it. I didn't love it. And then I tried to find her on social media, and she is pulling what a Soju did. And she's wiped her social media completely, as if she's doing a fresh start now that she's been announced on the show, which is interesting when people do that. I think it's fun to look at your body of work before you were on the show. As a fan, I love to do that. I love to see where people were before, after, and then during the show. I think it's interesting. So to wipe everything, I think, I'm not like conspiracy theorying anything, but I love to see when drag queens can be authentic. What we're doing is so fake. To see someone be realistic with their journey online, I think is, unless she didn't have social media, which I doubt, because I don't think you can get on the show without having some form of social media presence. As we've seen proven to be effective and not effective in the past couple of seasons. So that is the queens of RuPaul's Drag Race season 12. Now, before I go on this little shindig that I'm doing here, so I'm going to talk about like the main thing about the episode, the main gig, and then I'm going to have the hottest tea of the week. Now, this is going to be my favorite part of. Okay. And that this week, well, I can speak, y'all. Wow. The hottest tea of the week, I'm gonna say, I know this is probably not a popular opinion, but is RuPaul. RuPaul's look. Now, ever since AJ and the Queen dropped, I feel like RuPaul is like, I have legs, I can show them. RuPaul looks dang good in this promo. And good for her for actually getting into the theme. In seasons past, I feel like she's not always been on theme, which makes me think, did you film this like completely different than all these other girls? But RuPaul looks dang good. I'm so excited about this season. I think we've got a great lineup of drag queens. They just announced Nicki Minaj is going to be the first guest judge. She's like problematic, right? I don't remember. I don't care. She looked great. She was all red, which I thought fit the red, white, and blue theme, which I hope is not the first runway. We've already seen the red, white, and blue. Let's put that away. America's not in a great place right now. But I think it's great advocacy for promoting voting and blah blah blah. So that's cool. That aside. And then the not cute sis is going to be my least favorite part of the episode, or in this case, my least favorite. I don't want to call anyone out because we don't know these girls, and these girls, this is their first like, here I am world. I'm a Ru girl, so I'm not gonna as someone who's not wearing nails, who's in their room filming this with a cardboard box tower to hold their microphone up, I'm not going to call anyone out. I'm going to say the not cute sis portion of this episode is probably going to be the red, white, and blue. Oh! Oh! I almost wish they could go like, I don't know, like a red, white, or blue. Like they didn't have to incorporate all of it in their outfit. Because I think every single one of these queens has red, white, and blue, which can be, I mean, this is going to be the promotional picture that follows them 5 ever, so I guess that's my least favorite part, but they all look pretty great. Some of them not so much, but I think this is a wonderful Here I Am world. I think they look great, and yeah, that's it. So welcome to the other side of the moon, Drag Race Edition with me, Luna Muse, otherwise known as Cam Pederson. If you would like, please subscribe to me. I am on Apple Podcasts, I'm on Spotify, I'm on Stitcher, I'm on iHeartRadio, I'm on a bunch of other ones. You can also follow me on Twitter on either the Official Cam 1 or the Luna Muse, whichever one you prefer. You can tweet along with me. And please tweet me your opinions. Call me out. If I'm wrong, if I'm problematic, cancel me, sister. I would love to hear from you. I want to make this more of a conversation because I love Drag Race. And I know a lot of people are like, oh, Drag Race is blah, blah, blah. No, as much as you don't want to admit it, we're all watching Drag Race. Drag Race is one of the cultivating factors in a lot of drag nowadays. And it's a trendsetter. It is our main media outlet. And I think that we should acknowledge that, and, we should also call out when they're being less than graceful. But, yeah, I'm very excited about this, and I'm very excited that you have decided to either watch this podcast. I've never done, like, a full-length, like, Here I Am world, here's a whole podcast, but I have been watching people who do that, and I think it's interesting. You can put it on as a podcast, or you can put it on as a YouTube video and get views, so yeah, thanks for listening/watching, and I can't wait to review the first episode whenever that comes out, in January, or the end of February, I think. But yeah, alrighty. Thanks for watching/listening. Goodbye. Thank you all so much for listening to the podcast today. For more info, you can visit my website at campederson.com or follow me online at the Official Cam 1 or at the Luna Muse to keep up with me off air. I've also got some hashtags that I keep up with, hashtag Cam Pederson OSM and hashtag Other Side of the Moon. And also make sure to hit that subscribe button so you can stay notified each time I upload a new podcast. Thanks again. This has been Other Side of the Moon, Drag Race Edition, with me, Luna Muse. Goodbye.